Shabbat Shalom. It is good to be here this morning. Thankful for this day. Thankful for another day of rest. Yah is good no matter what we go through. He is still on the throne. He is in control. And the more I think about it and dwell upon it, and just even thinking about His Word, how He teaches me in His Word, it talks about, I will meditate on your Torah day and night. I just meditate on the Word in general. Like, what does this mean? What does this mean? How does this relate to me? I believe that's what he's talking about meditating on it. What does it mean? How can I get a deeper meaning out of this? How does this relate to me? And I enjoy those things. So meditating on the Word, He reveals the Word to you. We'll get a lot of stuff out of this morning and the message that He has for us. We always just have a joy in reading His Word and just growing spiritually. So if you would, let's go ahead and stand. I'm going to turn to Proverbs 1. I know we've been doing a lot out of Proverbs. We just got finished with Proverbs reading at the house. And then we're going into Psalms now. And we'll read through Psalms. And then I think Titus wants to read in Ecclesiastes. But that's all besides the point. Proverbs, and we'll read 1 and then we'll get to 7, which is the verse we want to get to. The Proverbs of Shalomo, son of David, sovereign of Israel, for knowing wisdom and discipline. So my favorite thing to hit on in the very beginning of Proverbs. So these are the Proverbs of Solomon. Let's get this. The son of David, sovereign of Israel. What are these Proverbs for? And then he tells you what they're for. For knowing wisdom and discipline, for understanding the words of understanding. That's what these Proverbs are for. For receiving the discipline of wisdom, righteousness, right ruling, and straightness, for giving insight to the simple, knowledge and discretion to the young. The wise one hears and increases learning, and the understanding one gets wise counsel. For understanding a proverb and a figure. That's what these proverbs are. Wise and their riddles. So verse 7, the verse that we want to get to. The reverence of Yah is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline. So let us lift up our eyes. Yah, thank you for this day. Yah, you are just so good. Beyond measure, there is no one to compare to you. As the word says, there is no one beside you. No one is your equal. Yah, you are the creator of the Shamayim and Aretz. Yah, we just give you honor and esteem. Just thank you for how you have revealed yourself to us, to know that you are the only Elohim, Yah. We're just so thankful for how you have brought us through our lives. You've given us progression in our understanding, Yah, as we continue to search and have a heart for you. May we just be completely devoted, Yah, we pray, to your name and to the understanding of being created in your image, Yah. You are so good to us. We lift you up on high. Speak for us at this time unto your people, and just may we all get a personal blessing from you. Baruch Hashem, hallelujah, amen. So, we had done the message before on what is wisdom without discipline. I'll go ahead and tell you the title of the message this morning. The title of the message is The Wise Fool. The Wise Fool. It is the one who knows wisdom, but does not apply it to their life. I also think about Paul and what Paul said. I know how to do, but how to perform it, I do not know. He said, I know what it is, but how to perform it, I do not know. And I'm just thinking, it is within us to understand these things. It is within us to do these things. But if you do not have heart for it, you will not do it. If you don't want to do it, you won't do it. And that's kind of what the understanding of this is you are already fully convinced in your heart and mind whether you want to do something or not. Nobody has to convince you. You are fully convinced yourself. You already know within yourself whether you want to do something or not. And the thing is, we come up with so many excuses as why not to. Some come up with excuses as why not to. We should have no excuse as not to. Does that make sense? There's no reason to not follow the word. There's no excuse to not follow the word. In the end, there will be no excuse before Yah. Why you did this or why you didn't do this. We are already fully convinced within ourselves to do something or not do something. And we'll get that out of the word this morning. So reading through all this, knowing wisdom and discipline, Then you get into verse 7. The reverence of Yah is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline. When you read and you understand in the art scroll, the fool is the fool who does not reverence Yah. So therefore, they do not like discipline and wisdom. Why? Because there is no reverence of Yah. We talked about definitely the past 2 weeks on what is the reverence of Yah. It is self-control. We talked about that last week when he said to guard your mouth from speaking deceit, from being angry, and also guard your behavior, the things that you do. Watch what you say and watch what you do. Let me teach you the reverence of Yah. That was in Proverbs. Okay, so the reverence of Yah is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline. You think about the creator of all creation. If anybody knows, it's Yah. So a fool, what does he do? He disregards wisdom and discipline. Why? Because he thinks he knows it. He's got it all figured out. So the reverence of Yah, we talked about that many times. Self-discipline in speech and behavior. The word fool is avil. It is foolish, one who despises wisdom, one who mocks when guilty, the quarrelsome, and licentious, that is promiscuous and unprincipled person. It is the perverse person. So, the fear of Yah, the self-discipline, seeing Yah's Torah, seeing Yah's instruction, and knowing his instruction and applying it to your life, that is the beginning of wisdom. That is where all wisdom starts. There was some really good stuff in the art scroll. A fool knows chachma, which is wisdom. A fool knows what wisdom is. He is not deficient in his ability to understand it. So a fool knows. That's why we called this message, or titled this message, The Wise Fool. He is not deficient in his ability to understand it, but he rejects it because it demands that he not indulge his every desire. That's not what I want to do. That's a fool. What does the fool say in his heart? There is no God. So just because it does not play in favor of the fool, he has no desire to do it. There was something even greater than that. Fools resist the diligence needed to study Torah properly. Okay? Torah is not just a one-stop shop. You don't go in and understand it all by reading one passage, or by reading one section, or by reading one chapter, or reading one book. You can't get Torah in a snap. Torah is a lifelong study. And the fool hates that. And I really get this because I think it's funny, like correlating it to Christianity. Sometimes when we were in Christianity, we just felt like we should be endowed with knowledge from on high. Like it's just bloom, plopped on us and we get it all. But that is not what they teach in Torah. Fools resist the diligence needed to study Torah properly. They want Torah knowledge to be bestowed upon them spontaneously, like it's a miracle, without any effort on their part. When they see they are not becoming instant Torah scholars, they abandon their studies because they fail, and this is the point that we need to get, they fail to appreciate the sweetness of learning. You're not going to get it all. They fail to appreciate the sweetness of learning. You've got to meditate on it. You've got to spend time in it. You've got to devote time to it. My favorite thing is meditating on it. For some reason, he has given me an ability to read something and store it. But then I meditate on it. And then I think about it. And he's like, this is what that means to you. Psalms 14. So they take Psalms 14 out of context and they put it in the New Testament out of context. We're going to read all of Psalms 14 because it's fairly small. The wise fool knows to do good and does not perform it. They are not incapable of understanding wisdom. Psalms 14, to the chief singer of David, the fool has said in his heart. So who is that? The one who wants to indulge his every desire. The fool has said in his heart, there is no Yah. They have done corruptly. They have done an abominable deed. So what are they doing it for? They're doing it for themselves. The fool does whatever he wants to. The fool does whatever his heart says. The fool satisfies his desire. That's why they hate wisdom and discipline. Because it takes a sense of self-control to perform them. It's not about you. It's about serving Yah. And ultimately, that is about you. Because that's about your benefit. He said, I did this to give to you for your good. This Torah is for your good. It is for your benefit. But they don't see it. So, continuing on. The fool has said, there is no Yah. They have done corruptly. They have done an abominable deed. Why? Because it was indulging their every desire. There is no one who does good. That's not anyone at all. There is not one fool who does good. Yah looked down from the Shamayim on the sons of mankind to see if there was one wise one seeking Yah, a wise fool. They have all turned aside. They have together become filthy, which makes sense when we connect it with what we just said. They want to do their own desire. They have no reverence for Yah. Therefore, they despise wisdom and discipline. They have all turned aside. They have together become filthy. No one is doing good, not even one. Have all the workers of wickedness no knowledge? So that's why we're saying it's not everybody at all. It is a select few, the fools. All the workers of wickedness have no knowledge. The beginning of the fear of Yah is the beginning of knowledge. Who eat up my people as they eat bread. See, he's dividing them. The fool who says there is no Yah and Yah's people. And do not call on Yah. There they are in great fear, for Yah is with the generation of the righteous. There's a division there. You can't take this out of context, plop it in Romans, and say this is what that means. He has divided them. There are wicked people and there are righteous people. For Yah is with the generation of the righteous. You would put to shame the counsel of the poor, but Yah is his refuge. Oh, that the deliverance of Israel would be given out of Zion. When Yah turns back the captivity of his people, let Yaakov rejoice, let Israel be glad. There's a division. The righteous people and the wicked. The one who says there is no Yah, and Israel, Yah's people, who know him and have fellowship. Now, the fool says that there is no Yah. There is no God. There is no Elohim. There's no creator. The creation and the creator. The fool says there is no Yah, but the fool cannot deny that all things that are created have a creator. There is nothing that is not created that does not have a creator. And I thought it was really interesting because we were watching one of the rabbis talk about this, the creation and the creator. The complexity of the creation shows the intelligence of the creator. Okay? You can learn how to build a chair in an hour. There's not much complexity to building a chair. It takes you 20 years of training to build a fighter jet. That's 20 years because of the complexity of the fighter jet. The human brain does not even compare that. All the towers, all the cell phone companies, everything in the world does not compare to the complexity of the brain. And that's just one creation. You think about the seasons and the times and the complexity of creation, and you cannot deny the creator. The human brain is more complex than the jet, the radio towers, the cell phone companies combined. I tell you, the fool knows wisdom, but he despises it because he does not reverence Yah. To know wisdom with no discipline is to not perform it. Proverbs 26 and 13. If Yah said you can do it in Deuteronomy 30, you are full well capable of doing it. But first, it must be in your midst. And that's what I really loved. I think it's in Deuteronomy. And he said, you shall do your sacrifices and offerings. You will know that I am Yah. I will dwell among the people. That among means in the middle. I'm in the midst of the people. I will be your Elohim. You will be my people. You will know that I am Yah. But I believe that midst is more than just in the middle of the congregation. I believe it's within you. And I believe that connects to Deuteronomy 30. The word shall be in your mouth and in your heart to perform it. It's greater than just him being here. He needs to be in here. He is in your midst. He is in your middle. He is among you. And I hope that every one of us this morning can say that. Although you may not be able to experience him now, or maybe you feel like you're kind of distanced from Yah, you can restore that through repentance and devoting your life back to him. But you cannot deny as his people that you know that he is with you. I know that he is with me. I know he dwells among me. I know I am a part of his people. And that's not an arrogant thing to say. I feel his presence. I know he is there. Proverbs 26 and 13. And we'll get back to that. If you don't feel his presence in your life, if you don't see that he is among you, then you need to seek him. You need to seek him out. You need to know that he is ever present with you. And it might be the fact that you don't know what his presence is like. You don't know how he acts. You don't know how to identify him in your life, which means you still need to seek him. So Proverbs 26 and 13. Now you might have always wondered, what in the world does this Proverbs mean? But Yah had already revealed it to me, and then when I got to Art Scroll and I was reading what their commentary, it was already there. I already knew what it meant. So Proverbs 26 and 13, the lazy one says there is a lion in the way, a fierce lion in the streets. What does that mean? We come up with excuses. There's no lion in the streets. There's no fierce lion out in the streets. The lazy person just doesn't want to do. So they make up odd excuses to not do anything. A lazy person's absurd excuses to shun their responsibilities. That's what this proverb is about. There's not a lion in the street. He's just making up an absurd excuse to not do his responsibilities. We all do that. We all make up excuses. Like I said in the beginning, we are already convinced. Nobody has to tell you yes or no. You are already convinced within yourself whether you're going to do something or not. I have no excuse not to be here on Sabbath. I have no excuse not to do the will of Yah. None of us have any excuses. A lazy person's absurd excuses to shun responsibility. We do not need convincing to do. We do not need convincing. This is where we get the Proverbs. Do not lean on your own understanding. That's where that Proverbs comes from. Because you have already convinced yourself that you're going to do something or not do it. Now, something that I've been working on recently is identifying the part of controlling your emotions, whether it's anger or sadness or whatever. The first part of controlling your emotions is recognizing them. You got to recognize it. Identify it. Label it. I'm angry right now. I'm sad right now. And then you've got to see where the origin comes from. Why am I angry? Why am I sad? What is making me feel this way? But first, you've got to identify it before you can remove it or before you can change it. You got to identify it. You've got to recognize it. So being able to recognize when you are excusing yourself from something is a part of changing that. Notice what you say. Notice what you think. You've got to recognize the excuse before you convince yourself to do something or not to do something. I really like the thought that when it talks about the less we talk, the more we know. You get a lot of that concept out of Proverbs. The fool utters his whole mouth, but the wise man studies to answer. That means take your time. The less we say, the more we learn. And the less we say, the less we convince ourselves to do something or not do something. So just do it. I'm not talking about sin. I'm not talking about unrighteousness. Identify yourself. Be self-aware. What excuses are you making up in your life for doing something or not doing something? We do not need convincing. The word says, do not lean on your own understanding. That's where this comes into play. We convince ourselves yes or no. Now, determination and perseverance are powerful. Determination and perseverance are powerful. Even when you get kicked down, getting back up is a part of learning. I'm very thankful for the job that I have and the teachings that they've given me. Failure is just a part of life. It's just a part of life. We all fail. We all mess up. We all make mistakes. I don't beat myself up over the mistakes that I make. And that's how we've talked about before. The Jewish thought is about the journey. It's about the journey. Like we talked about before, appreciate the sweetness of learning. We all mess up. We all make mistakes. Don't be so hard on yourself for the mistakes that you make. Learn from them. Now, when your mistakes become your routine, when your mistakes become what you do in and out, day in, day out, day, night, then that's where it becomes a problem. You haven't learned anything. You're continuing to make the same mistakes. That's where the problem comes in. So, determination and perseverance or persistence are very powerful. Continuing on. So we understand that the one that says that there's a lion in the street is just making up excuses. Absurd excuses to deny the responsibility. Like we said, I want to hit this again before we go into the next part of what we're going to talk about. Genesis 3. You are already convinced. You are already convinced on what you want to do or what you don't want to do. That's why we get a lot of stubbornness. And that's why you had stubbornness in Israel. Because they were already fully convinced. Why did they come out? If you wanted to stay in Egypt, why did you come out? We are already convinced. Genesis 3:1. And the serpent was more crafty than any beast of the field, which Yah, Elohim, had made. And he said to the woman, is it true that Elohim has said, do not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, we are to eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, do not eat it, nor touch it, lest you die. Now, we've talked about this verse before, verse 3, and the severity of adding to the word. What did Yah say? He commanded, verse 16, chapter 2, Elohim commanded the man, saying, eat of every tree of the garden, but do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for in the day that you eat of it, you shall certainly perish or die. This is the severity of adding to the word. What does she say? Do not eat it, do not touch it. She added to the word, and as soon as she touched it, she did not die. So Yah must be lying. But I want you to get that Eve was already convinced in her mind. This is what I think. As soon as Yah told them or told Adam about the tree, do you think they started considering the tree and thinking about the tree? Because I want you to get this from what's written. Elohim has said, do not eat it nor touch it lest you die. The serpent said to the woman, you shall certainly not die, for Elohim knows in the day that you eat of it, your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be like Elohim, knowing good and evil. And the woman saw. Let's read that word saw real quick. Ra'ah. It is to see. She saw the tree. She inspected the tree. I'm touching it now, and I'm not dead. She inspected the tree. She perceived the tree. She considered the tree. She had a vision of the tree. You know when you really want something and that's all you can think about? She had a vision of the tree. She observed the tree. She watched the tree. She gazed at the tree. Yeah, you get the fever, like Jason said. She already was convinced. What I want you to get out of this in Genesis 3 is it did not take much convincing for her to go for the tree. She did not fight. She did not try to fight. All he had to say was, the day you eat of it, you're going to be like Elohim. And then she looked at the tree. And you know what's even worse than that? Adam. Look at Adam. He was already convinced. Elohim knows in the day that you eat of it, verse 5, your eyes shall be opened and you shall be like Elohim, knowing good and evil. And the woman saw, she perceived, she inspected, she had a vision, she watched, she gazed at it, she considered it, she inspected it. The woman saw that the tree was good for food. He didn't say anything about that. She was already convinced. She knew. She wanted that tree. And then all he had to do was add to it. She saw that it was good for food, and it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree desirable to make one wise. And she took of its fruit and ate. And she also gave to her husband with her, and he ate. There was no fight. No fight. Adam just took it and ate because he was already convinced. I believe Eve was already convinced. Were they already thinking about the tree? She had thought about the tree before because she knew what Yah had said. She had meditated on that. I know what Yah had said about this tree. She had already thought about the tree before. She knew what Yah had said, but added to it. We see the severity of adding to the word. But she put up much more of a fight than Adam did. Adam didn't fight at all. Adam was already convinced. What we can get out of the tree is we are rewarded according to the fruit of our actions. That is what fruit is, your actions, your deeds. So, taking part of the fruit of disobedience, what does it create? He said, you shall surely die. But on the other side of that, we see life for obedience. If you do not eat of it, you shall continue to live. If you obey, you shall live. If you disobey, you're going to die. You are rewarded according to your actions. Genesis 2 and 7, like we talked about, 2 and 7, Elohim. Okay, this is good. So, talking about disobedience, life for obedience, don't eat and you shall live. So, if you don't eat, you're going to live. If you eat, you shall die of the knowledge of good and evil. Genesis 2 and 7. Are you missing something in your life? Okay? You think about Adam, you think about Eve, they had already considered the tree. There has got to be something this tree has got that I am missing. Are you missing something in your life? Now, are you missing something? I believe us understanding Genesis 2 and 7. And Yah, Elohim, formed the man out of the dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. I believe us understanding Yah is our source of life. Yah dwells with us. Being one with Yah is the wisdom to understand I lack nothing. I don't need that tree. I am completely taken care of. Satisfied. Sated. Yah, and I think about Job. I really love what Job said in the beginning. Yah gives and Yah takes away. That should be our saying. I am fully persuaded that what Yah has done, he is going, or what Yah has said, he is going to perform. Yah gives and Yah takes away. I think about that breathing of the breath. That's life. But even more than that, Yah breathed into him and he became a living being. What does that mean? Without Yah, you're dead. Without the breath, no more living. He takes the very breath from your mouth or from your lungs, and you're gone. So you know what that means also? He breathed into man. He became a living being. That means when you become one with Yah, you are satisfied. You have unity. You come alive. A lot of us think that maybe you don't think, that you're missing out on things, that you've got something missing in your life. But the thing that might be missing in your life is your relationship with Yah. That oneness that you should have with Yah. That fellowship that you should have with Yah. And we'll say that again. I believe us understanding Yah is the source of life. Without his breath, you're gone. And he put that in him, and they became one. There is a part of Yah that is within you, and that is your very breath. The source of life. Yah dwells in us. Being one with Yah is the wisdom to understand I lack nothing. I'm taken care of. Like I said, I'm going to say what Job said one more time. Yah gives and he takes away. Psalms 116. All of Psalms 116. And I love this very first part. A God who answers. An Elohim who hears. But not only does he hear, but he answers. He answers your prayer. Psalms 116. I love Yah because he has heard my voice and my pleas. Because he has inclined his ear to me. I shall call throughout my days. The cords of death were around me, and the pains of the grave came upon me. I found distress and sorrow. Then I called upon the name of Yah. O Yah, I pray to you, deliver my being. Yah shows favor and is righteous, and our Elohim is compassionate. Yah guards the simple. I was brought low, but he saved me. Return to your rest, O my being, for Yah has treated you well. For you have delivered my being from death, my eyes from tears, my feet from falling. I shall walk before Yah in the land of the living. This is the one we wanted to get to. I have believed, for I speak. I'm going to tell you what I believe in. I have believed, for I speak. What does he believe? Yah hears. Yah delivers. I am fully convinced. And then I looked at the second part. I have believed. Where is that at? I have believed, for I speak. I have been greatly afflicted. I said in my haste, all men are liars. So I looked at verse 11 to see where this originates from. And what this is coming from is 1 Samuel 23, 19 through 29. So David was in the mountain. And then the Ziphonites told Shaul where David was. And then they go and surround David. So David now says, all men are liars. Who are the Ziphonites? They are from Ziph. That was their father. Descendants of Judah. So why does he say all men are liars? Because he's like, who can I even trust? Those of my own family have disregarded me. All men are liars. But what does he say? I turn to Yah. And then there's a miracle that does happen there. It says that there is an angel that comes and tells Shaul, that the Philistines are coming. And he takes off. So if you want to read that and you want to write that down, that's 1 Samuel 23, 19 through 29. So the Ziphonites go to Shaul and tell Shaul about David. They are descendants of Judah. He hears and answers. I have believed, for I speak. I have been greatly afflicted. I said in my haste, all men are liars. What shall I return to Yah? All his bounties are upon me. I lift up the cup of deliverance and call upon the name of Yah. I pay my vows to Yah, now in the presence of all his people. Precious in the eyes of Yah is the death of his kind ones. O Yah, I am truly your servant. I am your servant, the son of your female servant. You have loosed my bonds. I bring you a slaughtering of thanksgiving and call upon the name of Yah. I pay my vows to Yah in the presence of all his people, in the courts of the house of Yah, in the midst, O Yerushalayim, hallelujah. I am convinced. Don't be the wise fool that does not consider and does not obey what Yah has said. Like I said, we all make up excuses. We all have reasons why to do something. A lot of it stems from fear. Why we shouldn't step out and do what we have been called to do. Don't be the wise fool. Are you fully convinced this morning? Yah's good. I'm very thankful for this message. He hears and he answers. The joy, the treasures of meditating, thinking about his word. Have you ever considered why the sluggard or the slothful man says there's a lion in the street? It's because he makes up excuses to not do his responsibilities. Yah's good. I pray for each one of you. Everybody have a blessed Sabbath. Shabbat shalom.